So Cowboys Mike McCarthy ranked worst Super Bowl era winning coach by national media. I don't think that can be real to me. I don't think he is.
I mean, we got to talk about it, fellas, because honestly, can you name anybody else?
Yep, I got one.
In the modern era that's worse? Because let's have a discussion about it, because maybe I can be able to name maybe a couple too.
Barry Switzer.
Barry Switzer, you think so?
Yes, 100% Barry Switzer. 100% Barry Switzer was a worse coach than Mike McCarthy. 100%. The only reason Barry Switzer won is because they still had such a crazy perennial Hall of Fame team, right? But I don't think Barry Switzer could have went and built a team up. And I guess you could have the same argument with Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy was given a pretty good team to coach also. Right. And even in Green Bay, he basically, Aaron Rodgers took him to that Super Bowl, you could argue.
Yes, and they never got back.
I'd see, Barry, this is the thing. I don't know enough about other teams to even really decide who would be worse than them. The only one I can think of is Barry Switzer, because I don't think Barry Switzer really did fucking much to help win that Super Bowl, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, if you're going to put Barry Switzer up there just because it was kind of tailor-made for him, I think Barry Switzer was a good coach that was just he got into a very fortunate situation and won a Super Bowl. He wasn't supposed to be there, obviously, but most of the times when guys win Super Bowls, teams win Super Bowls, they're pretty much led by a really, really good football coach. So it's very hard to kind of say, who's worse, because if you think about it, they're all pretty good. I mean, what does the list say?
Well, it's kind of weird here. It's showing Mike McCarthy at 18.
Right. He's the worst who's won a Super Bowl. So there's other coaches on this list.
Oh, but he's the worst who actually won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So like Brandon Staley here for the Chargers is ranked 17th.
But he didn't win a Super Bowl.
So
that's kind of a weird list. So is this coaches right now? I'm confused.
Yeah.
Current
he's current coaches, but he's the worst one that's won a Super Bowl.
That makes more sense. Mm-hmm. That makes more sense to me then. So they're not saying, okay, there's been X amount of Super Bowls won. No. Here's the list. That's what the headline what I felt like the headline kind of meant.
Yeah.
But I mean, I agree with this article more now. Like 18th, I say that's probably a pretty good spot for Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, I agree with that ranking as well. I don't think that you can put him any higher than that. And is he a coach in the 20s? I mean, it's debatable depending on who you ask, right? But if he's 18, that's kind of like right there on the cusp anyway. So I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I am too. When you look at this, you got Andy Reid, which I don't think you can argue Andy Reid. He's had so much success with the Eagles first, and now with the Chiefs. Like, he's been to multiple Super Bowls with multiple teams. He's had, playoffs. It looks like he's been there a fuck ton. 19-16 in the playoffs. That means he's been there like almost every season.
Mm-hmm. And also too, I think the one of the other reasons maybe they probably didn't put this in his description of why he's up there at the top is that Andy Reid's coaching tree, guys that come off of that tree, guys that he gives chances to, they always speak so very highly of Andy Reid. And it's a testament of how great he is as a person, as a coach, as a leader. So, all of those things for me factor in.
Well, he came from, and he was in the Mike Holmgren tree, wasn't he? Like he was in Green Bay with Mike, I believe, right? And then, and there was actually that. Speaking of coaching trees, that was a crazy coaching tree too. I got a question for you, Barry, because I know you're a big Sean Payton guy. Where would you put Sean Payton if he was in the NFL? Where would you rank him on this list?
Oh, he'd definitely be top 5 for me.
Really?
He'd definitely be top 5 for me. Sean Payton, for me, is one of the best innovative minds we've ever seen in football. I think the thing is with him is a lot of people take those things for granted when you're in one place for too long. They kind of get very used to you. Like, it's Sean Payton. But Sean Payton is an innovator. His offenses are always good. He's just a visionary and a genius when it comes to that side of the football. So if he comes back and goes to another team, everybody's going to remember how great Sean Payton is.
I have a question for you about that. So if he
what
do you want?
We got some chats popping in on that. Ultra Cowboy says Sean Payton has a worse record than Mike McCarthy, including the playoffs. And then he also says, and Ultra Cowboy also says, Andy Reid is not better than Bill Belichick. So I wanted to say the Sean Payton thing just because, Barry, you're on Sean Payton right now. But yeah, so you're saying, so he's just saying he doesn't agree with you because Payton has a worse record than McCarthy.
I mean, but you can't say. I don't think you can purely go with record. My only thing I was going to say to Barry was with Sean Payton, he did have a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he didn't really have success in playoffs. Really, like he has the one Super Bowl.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but you can't take that away from the guy, right?
True.
I mean, he does have a Super Bowl, just like how people can dog McCarthy all they want. He still has a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
So, it goes a long way. And yes, he had a Hall of Fame quarterback, but guess who else had a Hall of Fame quarterback? Bill Belichick. So for people that love to put Bill Belichick up there, he ride the coattails of Tom Brady as well. And they were obviously, you can't put one over the other, but he had one as well. When he didn't have Tom Brady, look what happened in Cleveland. Yeah. Everybody remembers that Bill Belichick did coach the Cleveland Browns for a minute, right? Yep. So, it's all of these things, people can't be able to forget about certain things and remember certain things. You gotta put everything in a pot.
Yeah, but if you've ever listened to us with PFF, we only pick the stuff that we like and fits our narrative. We only will pick stuff and throw it to our narrative. We're as bad as everyone. Like listen, I will pick and choose stuff to say and hold out other stuff.
Well, here's the difference, Ed, is that I love you guys, so it doesn't matter. You can do
that. The only thing that irks me about this list, I agree, is having Bill Belichick just being 6-3 in Super Bowls alone.
That's crazy.
As number 3, I just feel like he's the grand old champ. And I have nothing against Andy Reid being top of
You're
the place,
fat shaming Andy Reid right on air.
You don't like old man Reid. You want Bill Belichick.
I want Bill Belichick. Speaking of, like, Andy Reid does look like
a baseball coach.
The coach of.
He definitely does look like a baseball coach.
I was gonna say of the bad Disney of the team.
Oh, the bad guy.
The bad guys.
It wouldn't be red outfit though. They always put the teams in like crazy cool, like any Mighty Ducks black uniforms,
black
like,
and gold. They would look like the Saints.
They would look like the Saints.
Andy Reid looks like my old gym coach when I was in high school.
What was his name? I need to know his name.
I can't. I'm trying to remember his name right now, but man, he had the biggest stomach, and he was just. He just used to direct us in regards to what to do. He wasn't mixing it up, but he reminds me of Andy Reid.
That's funny that you say that. We actually, obviously, we're Canadian, not very many, and from a small town in Canada, not a lot of professional athletes. But we had an ex-Cowboy as a PE teacher in middle school, Moseychuk. Yep. I don't think he did anything in the NFL. I don't even know if he made anything more than the practice squad. But
at one point, still was there.
Yeah, he was
Doesn't
there.
Matter, right?
That dude was a fucking unit too. That guy was built like a fucking shit brick house. He did not look like Andy Reid.
Now, did he always kind of like put his, hey, I played in the NFL? Did he do one of those?
Not really. He went on and played in the CFL for a bit, and he didn't really actually ever talk about it. It was just kind of
never.
He never talked about it. Yeah,
nice.
Which I would have just been like, anything. I'd been like, oh yeah, when I was up in the league, like the changers were way better.
I would have rolled the fuck out of that thing. Yeah. I don't care. I don't care if I played on the practice squad for an hour. I say, you do know I was on a practice squad for, 2 days, and I would kind of stretch it every time I talked to somebody else. I was on a practice squad for like his whole season. I just lied. They couldn't prove it, so I can just lie.
This one time I was running a streak for Tom Brady. For Tom.
Yeah, I don't call. Yeah, for Tom, like, and you're saying Tom, like the person just knows who you're talking about,
right?
For Tom, I call him Tom.
Here,
or T. You just call him T.
You know what? It's better if I just show you.
Yeah,
right.
Let me show you. Step aside, gentlemen.
Do you know that I was the first guy to call him TB12? Do you know that?
I branded him.
I was sitting and I was like, TB12. You just gotta be so chill, bro. How do you do it? And
still waiting for that royalty check.
Still waiting for the check.
Who was ranked 12th? Was it Lovie Smith?
Yeah,
I didn't even know Lovie Smith was coaching.
No doubt.
Well, he was the assistant coach. Right? He was the assistant coach or defensive coordinator for the Texans last year.
What's he now? He was ranked 32 on this list.
He's now the head coach.
He is head coach. Lovey got hired somewhere? Oh,
of the Texans.
Oh, fuck.
Texans,
I did not even know that. That's a great hire by them. I think Lovie Smith should be higher up than that, personally.
Yeah, Lovie Smith is a great coach, man.
I think a lot of it also is, too, that
he looks fucking badass.
The team.
With that beard, right?
Yeah, he looks dope.
Yeah, I like that beard.
You think
That's
the
fucking
team kind of has a little bit involved? I mean, he was 3-3 in playoffs, 0-1. You got to remember, this guy made it to a Super Bowl with fucking Rex Grossman.
Grossman.
As if we're talking list, Rex Grossman's probably one of the worst starting quarterbacks to start in a Super Bowl.
I will say he might be the worst.
He's got to be. Like, try to name someone else that started in a Super Bowl that was worse than Rex Grossman.
I mean, even Trent Dilfer was pretty decent.
Dilfer was better than Rex Grossman.
Yeah,
100%.
definitely, 100%.
I'm talking about the Dallas Cowboys.